Most developers don't fail because they can't code well enough. They fail because they can't think for themselves. The truth is, in my opinion, that autonomy is the only skill that will keep you employable in tech. And if you've been depending on tutorials, traditional boot camps, or ChatGPT for like every answer, I really believe you're training yourself out of a career. When you know how to just kind of figure shit out, you become the kind of developer who doesn't need constant supervision. You're trusted with big problems, you make progress fast, and you stay employable when, not if, the tools and frameworks around you change. Unfortunately, though, most developers, especially newer ones, don't develop this skill. I see too many developers depend on extreme structure, whether it's through boot camps, tutorials, college. Now, AI tools like ChatGPT, Claude, and Cursor make learning feel very, very easy. You can basically skip the hard parts, get instant answers, and feel productive without ever really struggling to figure out an answer. And then you get hired, and the training wheels come off fast. Now, I say this from experience because when I got my first programming job, I was basically a senior developer's worst nightmare. Honestly, embarrassing. Every bug, every small issue, every error message, every feature I didn't quite understand, I would just wait till he got there and ask him for help. I had the benefit of working in an office. The guy was right behind me, and I was that annoying, pesky junior developer. Very nice guy. I hope he's still doing well. But one day he looked at me and he said this. He said, "Have you even tried to figure this out on your own yet? Because you're not going to learn anything if you just keep asking me everything." He was pretty direct, pretty firm. That was a very embarrassing moment for me. And honestly, a little bit of shame can go a long way. And that line stuck with me. It feels super obvious in retrospect. Like, oh, yeah, why do I need to ask him everything? I could just go on the internet, go on Stack Overflow. This is why I talk about a lot of this stuff because I've been a lot of the bad things that I tell you not to be, right? And here's the thing, if that senior developer had been ChatGPT, I never would have gotten that feedback. It would have been like, "You're absolutely right, Brian. Let me show you why this error on line 502 or whatever is throwing an issue. It's not your fault at all. The code is just really confusing, you know?" And I would have felt better about myself and gone on not really ever learning anything. I would have just kept copying and pasting code, thinking I was improving when actually all I was learning to do was get better and faster at dependency. This was a pretty major turning point for me because I realized that no one's really going to come to save me. This person was very nice, overly kind. This was also a very different period of time in tech. This is like 2013, 2014, where there was less expectations right now. And here's why not being super dependent matters more than ever. What used to be considered mid-level is now the new junior, which means that companies expect you to join, understand very quickly, and hit the ground running. Would Brian in 2013, 14, and 15 have made it right now? Absolutely not. I was completely unprepared. Literally 100% of students that graduate Parsity are 2 to 3 years ahead of where I was when I first started my career. That's just the reality of where we are right now. The bar will always continue to raise in humanity, but also within careers. What used to float a few years ago just won't in the future. So if you're coming into a job thinking, well, I have all the right skills, the right attitude, and I'm going to be trained up on the job, this is just not the way things are working anymore. But there is hope. And the faster you're able to work independently, the longer your career is going to last. I don't want it to be all Mr. Doom and Gloom. We need people entering the industry. It's just the expectations have risen. It's not to deter you from entering the profession. There is a practical way to do this that I want to outline for you. In fact, there's 4 things that I think you should be doing in order to build up this muscle, this autonomy, this independence muscle, this get shit done and figure shit out muscle, right? You're using tutorials, but you're probably using them wrong. You should use this pattern, in my strong opinion: extend, break, rewrite. People often think I hate tutorials. I do not hate tutorials. I just barely ever finish them. I have a graveyard full of unfinished tutorials. And nowadays, I prefer text-based tutorials. If I'm just being honest, I don't really want to watch a video. I make videos here because I know for most people, they like to consume videos. I see text as being a much faster way of digesting information. So I make most of the curriculum now for Parsity in a way that you don't have to watch the video, but a lot of people do want to watch the videos. So I try to make everybody happy. It's still something I'm kind of going back and forth on, if I'm being very honest. I don't hate tutorials. I go far enough to learn something new, and then I stop the tutorial and apply it to my own project. When I get stuck, I might go back to the tutorial to learn the next thing that might help me get unstuck again. And then I go back and apply that to something outside the bounds of the tutorial. I'm almost never going to write what they're writing. I just want to see the high level thing like, okay, this is Rust, for example, a language I don't really know. They have something called a borrow checker. They have mutables, right? And I'm like, okay, I kind of get this, but let me apply it to see if I really understand it. And then I can quickly see whether or not I truly get it. And then I'm like, okay, cool. Well, I did that. Now, how would I make like a API call using Rust? I may have to go back to that tutorial and look how to do that. How do I make an object? And then I kind of go back and forth until I can keep building something. And then I'll just extend whatever basic thing they've given me or not. If you're building a movie finder app, for example, maybe you want to see, can you add a feature to save something? Just do something interesting that is not in the tutorial, right? You can even break it. Breaking things is super underrated. When you break a program, it kind of exposes you to like, well, how could a bug slip in here? What if the movie finder returned me the wrong movie or put them all out of order? How would I put them all out of order? What if we fetched only soundtracks or just weird stuff? Like try to see if you can break the program a little bit or at least make it work in unintended ways. That's often what bugs are, an unexpected feature, essentially. So make your own unexpected features. Maybe even add a test. Many tutorials never show you how to write tests. So maybe you can see, well, now I have this movie finder. What would be a good test? Maybe I should test that we actually show movies when I call this API. There's no gold star for finishing tutorials. This is not school. No one's going to ask to see your movie finder or your to-do app or your meme generator, right? You should still build these things with the intention that they are here to teach you, not to actually be the project that you want to show out to the world. The gold star happens when you get to that first job. And unfortunately, there's still no gold stars, but that's okay. Now, step 3 on your path to being a person that just gets shit done. Learn to ask for help, but please ask for it in the right way. I've learned this lesson over many years of being a junior developer and then being a senior developer and manager and then working with people and understanding how to ask good questions versus bad questions. Here's my general rule of thumb and what I tell people. They're always like, when should I ask for help? I don't want to ask too early, right? But then I'll meet them 2 days later and they're like, oh, I spent a whole week on this, or I spent a few days on this problem. I'm like, wait, what? Why didn't you just ask? Well, I didn't want to bother anybody. I'm like, oh my God, what do you think we're here for? So I say this as a general rule of thumb. Spend around 30 minutes trying to solve a problem before you ask. When you do, just show your work. Don't say, it's not working, or I tried this, but it doesn't work. It'd be really nice if you said, here's what I tried, here's some documentation, here's a snippet of the code, and here's exactly why it's not working. I expect this outcome, but I'm getting this outcome. Here's the input, here's the output, here's a code snippet that you can run on your machine. A screenshot is okay, but if you're posting code snippets, I would just paste the actual code if you're in some sort of Slack chat or GitHub thread or on Discord. This way people can potentially run this. You might be thinking, I don't even have a job. Who am I going to ask? I'm self-teaching. Ask the AI tool that you're using in this exact same way. You're not only going to get better results, but it's going to help crystallize your thinking, because this is practice for when you do talk to a bag of flesh rather than a robot about your janky old code, right? This should help you think through how to ask questions in a good way and get better answers, but also just learn how to rephrase and speak technically and communicate technically. This is a big part of getting shit done and being autonomous. Being autonomous doesn't mean you never ask for help. It means you ask for help in the right way, in a way that encourages people to want to help you and not run away when they see you coming and put on their headphones and hide under their hoodie or something like that. And finally, the last step, step 4, learn when to turn off AI. This may be the most important thing you can do right now as an early career developer. I've seen people construct pretty interesting code, interesting in that it works and it even looks okay, obviously AI generated, and they think that this may lead them to a career. It may lead you to a career that you won't be able to maintain. This has been a phenomenon that I've read about. I've seen a little bit of this through some interviews I've done recently, and people that can construct code but cannot tell you anything about this code. This may fool a hiring manager or somebody that's not really doing their due diligence when they're interviewing you. This is not a way to have a career. It is career suicide, in my opinion. If you learn when to turn off these tools, you'll be doing yourself a huge favor. You'll be going back to the old school method of learning without having that easy access to dependency. We're telling students to avoid using AI right now when they're learning. I don't see a great place for it. And maybe I'll change my opinion on this in the future. I don't know. But I do know that relying on these tools too early is much worse. You really don't need a course on how to use ChatGPT. Like Cursor and Claude are pretty intuitive. And if you know how to code, then you're going to pick up these tools fairly simply, in my opinion. You don't need a whole course on this. What you need to learn are the software fundamentals and how to construct code that is maintainable, can scale, and will make sense to other developers. This is much more important than learning how to prompt a tool to write the code for you. AI tools are obviously really powerful, and they also destroy your autonomy if you rely on them too soon. Use them only if you already know exactly how you'd write the code, but you're too lazy to do it. You're like, I don't want to refactor 10 files or change this name here or something like that, or I want to turn this class into a functional component. And that's a really simple task, and I could do it, but it's going to take me a couple hours. That's a great use for AI. What's not a great use is when you're like, I don't know how to approach this, and I want you to figure it out. Now you're offloading the most critical piece of your role to an AI. And that can work in some scenarios. The reality is, once you're working, this will happen at some point where you'll be like, I don't really know how to approach this. You give me an answer. And you can see that answer and you can then determine whether it's good or bad because now you have intuition. You have some time in the saddle that you can look back on and say, you know what? Maybe I'll do a little more research. But if all you've ever done is prompt an AI and then taken what it spits out and paste it into your code base, then you don't know what's good and what's bad. This leads to really brittle, terrible code. And then you have a team of developers who will usually tear this code apart. And it will leave you thinking, well, now if the AI is not right and I don't know what to do, where does that lead me? You have to develop this skill. You can use AI if you want to be lazy. It's okay to be kind of a lazy developer. It's not okay to be a developer who doesn't understand their own work. Now, here's a harsh reality that I kind of wish wasn't true. And very lastly, the reason why becoming autonomous is so important nowadays is because AI has created this really weird and pretty negative culture right now, I think, in software engineering. I don't know how long this will last or if this is just our new reality, but here's the truth. AI isn't going to take all of our jobs, but it is going to mean less jobs. And not because a large language model can do your job as a coder any better than you can. Most times it does it much worse than you can. But companies have already decided that they are going to invest in AI despite any proof that it will actually be able to replace human labor. Now, they have to cut jobs to justify these investments. If they spent $1 billion last year on AI technologies or whatever, do you really think that they could just continue on as normal? No, the only way these AI investments make work is if people either 10x their output or if they decrease their headcount by 10%. Which one do you think is more likely based on your usage of these tools? Do you find yourself 10x more productive? The truth is, nobody has, and no study has found that anybody is more than maybe a few percent to maybe a max of 10% more productive. In fact, in some cases, it's shown to be less productive using these AI tools. But reality has ceased to matter to most of the media and to the AI companies that are pumping trillions of dollars into the economy and spending millions influencing social media and some of your favorite influencers to basically shill for them. This will mean fewer opportunities in the future. A lot of people I'm speaking to, expectations are getting higher. There's a smaller light at the end of the tunnel. So before you take some other AI course or grind through another 100-hour tutorial, I think you really want to slow down. I think you want to go away from the AI tools and get comfortable being uncomfortable. Because once you learn this skill of being more autonomous, immersing yourself within a code base, a large one, through open source or at your own work, and learning how to be immediately effective in that code base, this is how you become the kind of developer who lasts not just through this particular phase, but in the next phase. Because AI, in my strong opinion, is not nearly at the place that media would tell us it is to replace large amounts of the workforce. But I think we're going to see companies try. So we'll see where this all pans out. I'm cautiously optimistic in many ways. I feel like I'm going to be very right at the end of this thing, but that is my big bet coming into the year 2026 to see where this bubble pops and where this leads us as an industry and what that means for tech hiring and the potential rebound of tech jobs in 2026. Will I be right? Will I be wrong? Only time will tell. I hope what I said was somewhat helpful to you, and I'll see you around.